Now we'd like to return to our discussion on the NSA spying and the revelations that have been made because of the Edward Snowden leak. The growing spying flap could affect U.S. counterterrorism operations, and we have invited security expert and former FBI agent Jack Cloonan, who's very familiar with the rise of America, back on the show. Jack, are you there now? There you are. Thank you so much for being with us. I do appreciate it. As these revelations have been coming about, conversation has centered around the fact that the chances are everybody spies on everybody, and that these countries could not have been shocked by this revelation. So what's the real fallout by these revelations as they've been coming out in dribs and drabs over the weeks and months?
Well, I think, Debbie, that we all know that this sort of thing goes on, clearly. But the documents that Snowden took with him are probably the single biggest leak of classified information in the history of this business. So this is a very serious matter. As you suggest, everybody has accepted the fact that we all do this to each other. But I think what's happened now is it's now out in the open, and to the extent that we have engaged in this type of activity against people who are described as our allies, it's really what's causing the uproar. You can understand how Chancellor Merkel is understandably upset because her personal cell phone was allegedly targeted. Now, that probably in a lot of people's minds crosses the line, and I'm certain that the president wants to assuage Chancellor Merkel that her private life was not targeted. And I think that a lot of what you're hearing now coming from the likes of Chancellor Merkel, also coming from Mexico, also coming from the president of Brazil, and also coming from France, really is trying to put pressure on the United States to curtail its activities. Post 9/11, we asked a lot of our allies. We asked for support in Pakistan, we've asked for support in Afghanistan, we've asked for support in Iraq. And now what these countries are saying is, you need to treat us as an equal. You need to build trust. This activity that you've engaged in is unacceptable to us. So in the case of Germany, Germany is going to force the Obama administration to bring it in line with the protocols that we have in place with the United Kingdom, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Those countries we don't target. And I think that's what Angela Merkel is trying to accomplish. And we cannot forget how this plays domestically in these countries. This has really upset a lot of people. And I think that in the case of the leaders, they have no choice but to act to domestic policy and pressure. And I think you're seeing it played out in the open. I can assure you that everybody in the Obama administration that has something to do with national security wants to call their counterparts in those countries that I've identified, and perhaps others, bring them to Washington, sit down and have a frank discussion. This is a very, very serious matter.
Yeah, it seems to be getting messier and messier by the day. Let me ask you, just based on your own experience and expertise, Jack, what's the chance? Is it conceivable? Because the reports are that President Obama did not know about the extent of much of this surveillance and only found out about the surveilling that included German Chancellor Angela Merkel's cell phone this summer. What's the conceivable chance that he really didn't know about this until recently?
Well, I think that we're parsing words here. I think the administration could effectively say that the president did not know that Angela Merkel's personal cell phone was targeted and leave it at that, and he would probably be, frankly, telling the truth. However, to suggest that the president did not know that Germany was a target, that France, Brazil, Mexico defies credibility. And people in Washington know that, and they're just trying to make a bad situation go away, tamper down the headlines, and see if they can't keep these people quiet for the time being. But again, it defies credibility to think that this administration didn't know what was going on.
I know that you said that this really is a mess, and so many countries are trying to save face. There have been some real tangible fallout. As we all know, Brazil President Dilma Rousseff canceled a state visit with the president. Also, they canceled a program to buy U.S. military aircraft. And then there's been a suggestion by German authorities that the European Parliament suspend, as you already mentioned, the post 9/11 agreement allowing Americans to access the bank transfer data known as the SWIFT agreement. Particularly with the SWIFT agreement, is this just a threat commiserate with the embarrassment, or is there a real chance that we could, that the U.S. could be hampered in their fight against terrorism?
Well, I do think that the threat is real. I don't think that they're just shouting in a wind tunnel. I think they really mean it this time. I think they're even, most of the people who have accepted that this type of activity goes on are a bit nonplussed and a bit upset, I should say, about the extent of it. And I think now that it's in the open, nobody can really run away from this. It has to be solved. It is a significant breach of trust, and that's the way these countries are looking at it. Particularly, just imagine now, we know that the president, our president, prefers a BlackBerry, and we know that the president has encryption. Imagine what the hue and cry would be if we found out that the French or the German security services had intercepted and targeted our president's personal cell phone. What would be the reaction?
Right.
The reaction would be huge.
It would indeed, and I think this reaction is probably going to go on for quite some time. We're going to have to stop right there. Jack Cloonan, thank you as always.
Thank you.